So hello again, Chris in the booth here, and Jesse's just coming in to join me. Please type in the chat if you can hear us to make sure that everything's working as it was at the end of the last game.
And we have our fingers crossed that everything will be okay. And Zeb, as we mentioned before, they have lots of things going on in the booth, including making sure that sound actually stays permanently working. So I was told at lunch that they will alphabetize if they have time when they're done everything else they have to do in the booth there. So no promises, but they will attempt, is what I was told at lunch. Whether they've remembered since talking to me an hour ago about it, I don't know, but we'll see. Hello, Puneet. And yes, Jason, we were excited to see Esther and Nigel on the board because Nigel needs no introduction, but Esther has been playing fantastic this tournament as well, so we're expecting a really high-quality game this round.
For those who were following the previous game, we had a chance to catch up with both players just after it, and a couple of interesting things. Esther wasn't 100% sure of Cahoons, which, if anything, makes the fact that she decided to go for it
amazing,
even more impressive in such a critical position. Also, that crucial play of Zing, which Jesse chose not to play and played GU instead, he didn't consider that Zing as a possibility, and I think had he considered it, he would probably have arrived at the same conclusion that Jason did and decided to run with it. He was looking at Pung as well. But now, we've got
Esther, whatever her last letter is, it's a lot nicer than what Nigel's got. Oh, there you go. Well, that'll be a bonus.
Looks like Esther decided to change on that turn, am I right? What did she play? 5 or something?
Was it her first or Nigel? I'm not sure.
I think it was Esther first because she had a different rack. She had 5 NTS. So my guess is that she actually changed it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Instead of playing 5s. Interesting choice.
Okay. It looks like Nigel has opted to exchange,
unsurprisingly,
WWY and something else, I believe. WWYX? Not sure.
Guess we'll see. Esther has tunnies, which...
Nice fish.
Yeah, which I hope she'll play without fuss. Actually, I would have expected it to be down on the board already, though, so maybe she's...
Oh, there's an eye. Okay, so Unity's and Unity's.
Her rack has changed before our eyes, but...
Either way, she's going to bonus.
Yep.
Okay, so it looks like Nigel changed WWYX based on what he has on his rack as the new set of letters.
We'll get a bingo through Esther's
grimiest.
So bingo, bingo, star, very nice. Might lead to an interesting board.
5 and exchange BF are tied in a sim. Interesting. Yeah, I think. Yeah, if I had to think about it, I would probably just change the 2, but that's just more my style.
Whereas I might well play 5s.
And there you go, you're the better player. So.
Oh, no. It's very much a stylistic choice, that choice.
And tunnies, okay, so...
it was tunnies after all.
Alright, there you go.
Sorry, we're seeing the same thing as you guys, so we have no better rack information, unfortunately. But if the rack that's displaying for Nigel is correct, then he's got a choice of bingos. Meriting, lightering, retiming. Those are all still valid, right?
Those are all still valid, that has not changed.
Grimiest, and then that might be it. Oh, tigerism. Forgot about you. It's quite a lovely word, not the best player. And the H for mightier rounds out the 8s that are available with that rack.
So, me personally, since we're going to wait to see what Nigel opts for in the end, I would probably go for mitering, but what would you choose of the options, and why would you choose that? Just to maybe give a little bit of insight to anyone watching. Retiming, okay.
Retiming goes down. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out why you're choosing mitering. I mean, there's really very, very little difference between those 3 options. They each have an identical vowel consonant structure, which would be the main thing I would be looking at in choosing between them, considering that they score the same, and all leave the same floaters available. So the fact that they all have that identical vowel consonant structure really means that there's quite a minimal difference. One reason Nigel may have chosen to play retiming is that he wants to keep the E on E3 rather than putting the I there, because the E takes fewer high consonants in front of it.
Pulled out fire.
Oh, it's called that fire dog, wow.
Jackson's still awake and watching. Yes, Kenji, I did notice that. Did you get me studying in there, Jackson? If not, well, we can't control what you do, so.
I think I'm not going to bother finishing my thought on retiming. It's flogging a dead horse, really. There's a very minimal difference between those moves at this stage of the game.
So bled, it looks like, to keep QXST.
Interesting choice. Not convinced by that.
I might have just dropped the Q personally.
Yeah, on just a first look at the board. What do people think of that red play? I'm curious to hear the comments on that. QI was, of course, an option, and I'm not sure if anything else was reasonably on the board there. But I think I'm with Jesse on that. I might well have just dropped the Q.
So fire dogs or fire dog is really what's going on here.
Esther has pulled the A out of the bag for the front hook on bled, so retrospectively it looks like a good choice. Nigel may choose the vertical fire dogs here as a positional choice, given Esther's move.
And Nigel's predilection to verticalism whenever he can. There you go, yeah.
There he does it. I'm not surprised at all by that. It's the tighter position is definitely indicated by virtue of what Esther did there. And Esther's got just about the best she could have given her lead. I think
she's got an X-play now for 50 plus, which is nice. She's gonna, oddly enough, you know, you would think cat would be a decent play most of the time, and it is, but when you can play tax instead, why not?
Yeah, it's not immediately clear to me what her priorities need to be here. Given that she's 58 points down, I'm inclined to agree with what Jackson's just posted. Keep the X scoring insurance and try and make her rack as nice as possible in the next couple turns, rather than keeping Q difficulties for herself.
Looks like she's stuck to the left side of the board, and that looked like a lot of tiles, whatever she did.
QAT looks viable. Koshi goes down, but it's not a word. Only the IA spelling is valid as far as I know.
Well, Nigel is holding. It looks like he hasn't challenged yet. We would assume he'd challenge normally, yeah, so they're going to challenge that.
Challenge, so bad luck for Esther there. Reached slightly too far.
And to be fair, we've been watching, you know, whenever she hasn't been sure so far, she's played and it's been a word, you know, so psychologically she's riding on a high right now with everything going her way so far. She's playing Nigel, so hey, why not, you know, she's not going to her credit, she's not playing scared, you know, she's still opted to play the word as she's seen it. It's going to come off, but it's the right mindset anyway, so not be afraid on the basis of playing someone different. Just not her luck this time.
Yeah. I mean, if she had doubts about it being a word, then it was probably a mistake, given that she had safer players available that were perfectly credible. But nonetheless, we move on, and Nigel has picked up another excellent rack. he's really drawing well at the start of this game. Some good 8s available with that. Tell us some of them in the chat if you see them. There are 3 in total.
I like to sometimes combine words, in a full mental kind of style. So I was looking at cowbane, thinking of like Cowdrax.
Good try with that.
And no actual words. Let's see.
There are no 7s, by the way, so I don't think Nigel. I'm sure Nigel won't be bingoing on this turn.
Oh yeah, I guess Coxswain is one option.
Coxswain, Causeway,
Oh yeah, that's right.
and Wayne Scott.
Ah. The ones that are arguably easier, and I see the one with the X.
Yeah, I would probably never have seen Coxswain. Yeah, it's amazing that Nigel's played already on that turn. You'd think he would have had quite a lot to think about, given tiles that he knows Esther holds. But he's gone for a very straightforward grab 30 points with a couple of tiles and an excellent bingo lead. He must be feeling very, very comfortable with his 90-point lead and his excellent 5-tile keep. He's just letting Esther worry about Esther's tiles, which sometimes is the way to go. You can really derail yourself by trying to play your opponent's position too much. And
God, Nigel's got 2 blanks now here, so
the writing is very much on the wall here.
It's it's usually you don't want to say so early on that that's that, but yeah, that's that.
I see caffeine's available for Nigel. Surely there isn't a triple, is there? Don't think that there is. But certainly bingos with that F. Not anymore though.
She's
F
played.
goes down.
Yes, cut. And he'll just pick a double.
So we can expect to see Nigel scoring about another 85 points on this turn, which will take his lead to a cool 150 or so, with 2 blanks on the boards. And the position is starting to tighten up considerably, actually. That Fire Dogs really has a huge effect on the long-term board architecture, and that's exactly why Nigel chose it. Makes things far more controllable for the leading player. So Kenji's suggesting that positionally a double-double may not be optimal here, but I'm curious, Kenji, can you tell us which lane exactly you have in mind in preference to a double-double? Is it just a 7 starting at K7 or something else? Or is it starting at K1 and creating the right angle?
Yeah, I guess there's something to be said for playing from K1 down to try and lock things up a little bit. I think I'd probably still take the points in the end.
Yeah, as Kenji's just said as well,
Yeah.
K1. Yeah, it's tempting. What's the best tile to end in if you start at K1? Because
Yeah, there's still both the H's out. For anything ending in S is going to have Gosh as a hook still.
not to mention DOS
Yeah.
with an S.
So there's definitely still
parallel options.
options.
Yeah.
So I don't really see anything that would.
Yeah, all of that increases the case for the double-double, and I think someone suggested Stanek, which is a very good choice.
Angikos.
Wait, that can't be right. Helmet goes.
Yeah, we're waiting to see what they're doing over there, guys. Sorry, it looks like they must not have a good look at what the word is. Okay, antics.
6.
Yeah, it seemed like that would be needlessly giving a triple letter away next to a vowel. Would have been unlike Nigel.
Yeah. I mean, this option floats the S. But it does reduce the cheap scoring options back.
And I saw Esther made a play fairly quickly afterwards, so we're just going to wait to see what that is. She had Shiro YX on her rack, so we're just waiting to see what else is there. Yeah, so Oryx is the one that went down. Jason, you're correct, based on what she's still got in her rack plus what's new.
And her pickup goes nicely with that T of Tunnies.
Right, APIs is...
Or even Aesthesia.
Yes. Yes, she has been a Shiro for the last little while here, eh? You know, it's a bonus she certainly needs to get right back within the game here.
I'll be very curious to see what Nigel thinks is top priority on the board. Is it the B column? Is it the bottom right? Is it the M column?
No shortage of options. I think he knew going in when he was making his decision that he wasn't going to be closing the board down if he did the double-double, and it's certainly not looking like he'll be shut down anytime soon now.
Yeah, D column players at the top left are going to be pretty tempting. Get some mileage out of that K and get the duplicate vowels off the rack. Just give himself a nice flexible leave. The L absorbs the vowel imbalance fairly well. Outrunning is a pretty robust strategy with the blanks already down.
He's finally putting some tiles down here. It looked like 3 tiles, so yeah, it's very likely cola or something similar. Kale.
Aha, curveball from Nigel.
Actually, it makes sense. There's more A's and E's left than O's. You don't want to duplicate any of them, but the likelihood of duplicating A or E, I guess, is a bit higher.
So,
Way down on the list is Koekoea through the K in antics. Wow. And Ackle says Oleo through that same L. Yeah, for all the vowels, that makes sense. And Esther has found apiizes.
So there's still very much some play in this position, given that Nigel's rack has deteriorated a bit. No, Esther's narrowed his lead to 60. It's still going to be tough work for her, with no S's or blanks left. And apiizes is nice, but within another couple of turns, the board actually might become quite controllable. Nonetheless, with a favourable pickup, Esther can still threaten the win here.
She may have also been thinking that since there are no S's left, Aesthesia in a way kind of limits some of her options to bonus the next turn. So maybe some of her logic was to leave herself an S hanging down there. Can't hurt in your mind.
And the B column is still a viable bingo line, just about after atheizers, less so after aesthesia. Eek.
But Esther has not pulled favorably. You know, Nigel's rack is bad, but Esther's is definitely worse. So yolk.
Nigel doesn't even care about the floaters.
This is like, come at me. Or something like this.
Well, he probably knows very well it's this below neutral bag, and how right he is. It's a below neutral rack for Esther.
I was just trying to picture in my head Nigel saying something like, come at me, Bray. Something like that. Imagine him trash talking over the board. Yeah, Esther's got a toughie here for sure. I mean, the ones that jump out that are shorter with the V or Uva or Vow or Bot or Vatu, but no matter what she plays, it's going to be a clunky, less desirable lead. So, I mean, you don't change here.
No, I don't think you can change here. There's just not enough good letters in the bag to draw to. It's a really tough spot, almost impossible to find a realistic path to victory with such a rack and such a deficit.
So this is where maybe where I would want to improve my own game, since I'm sitting next to someone who is considerably better than me. I'm looking at column B, down to B5, something like Uva and AA with B, C, and F in the bag as possible hooks, to try and keep the bottom left open and not destroy the board. But I guess there's so many spots open, maybe you wouldn't need to do that. I don't know, thoughts like that.
It's a reasonable try. I think the weakness of that is it's just a bit too easy for Nigel to play parallel from B11 down, as people were advocating he should last turn, and just knock that extra A column bingo right out along with all the horizontal floaters.
True.
So with that play, I think one of its weaknesses, it looks like you're adding a different bingo line to the board, but actually you're only adding one that can be blocked in the same, is exactly the same play.
Oh, and Jason just wrote what I was thinking as well. Well, I was letting you finish your thoughts, I didn't want to shout it, but I was thinking Urba as well from K3, getting rid of the same couple letters, and since there's no S's, it's not so harmful that way.
I think that's the better play. Forks the boards properly. I mean, it's really still quite horrible.
Everything's going to be horrible
as
here.
is ordered, so
we need like Avutu or some other Maori word to get added really fast here to clear that up.
Uvula would be cool if there's an L, but how often have we said that to ourselves as players?
Uvula, that would be great.
Yeah, everyone loves a uvula.
So it looks like she's changed.
And
Looks
Nigel,
like all of her racks. She's exchanged 7.
Nigel bingos with no child here, so good night. For those watching, what was the other 8 that Nigel had with this rack? No quackle allowed.
It's a nice play. Actually, I did not know that word.
Yeah, interesting decision by Esther to change there.
Oh.
As we were saying, that the bag is unlikely to reward
An exchange.
an exchange, especially what looks like she exchanged 5 tiles there. I mean, the chances of getting something that's gonna not only make up for sacrificing the 15 points or whatever.
But better lead-wise.
Yeah,
Not really.
that was a very low percentage exchange, I think. I think she was forced to persevere with what she had, but really it was a terrible spot all around. And well, she has no chance. If she had no chance before, she certainly has no chance now.
So, I'm not sure it's the best play. I was looking and seeing add Jigo at the bottom for Nigel, but something with the W on the double letter score might actually be better. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter because he's winning either way, but I'm assuming Esther's not going to be playing at the bottom given her rack, so probably a little more exciting to talk about Nigel's options.
Sorry, Jason, I meant the only other 8 that rack made at all, which, sorry, I must have been unclear with my question.
Oh, never mind, there is a Z still out, so he won't play at Jigo. That would leave the O needlessly below the J 14 spot. So something like Waj probably is sufficient.
Yeah, well, almost anything's sufficient. But I agree.
I know in the past, a mistake I've made when I've been ahead and in a game where I'm probably not going to lose is I would make a play like a Jigo without thinking about it, just to try and balance it, and then watch as an opponent has something like a Z play to close the gap, and then I lose spread that I should have. So a tip to my past self and to those of you out there as well who are watching at a more intermediate level or beginner level, take a second to look for more options as well, even when you see a really nice play, just to make sure you don't give up a lead if you have it, or you don't give up your lead altogether if it's a close game.
Nigel may even be tempted to do something to set up his own J. No, he just goes for Genji.
Gajo, that works too.
Lovely play, yep. Excuse me.
Reached him, there you go. I didn't know that.
I actually saw Lockheed Kenji before before noticing that Notchild was available, but chose not to comment on it. So this is a nightmare game for Esther, basically. You know, Nigel kicked off with retiming Firedog's antics, separated only by, I think, that play of Woe.
Mm-hmm.
Really such an uphill struggle for Esther, and she's battled through some tough racks, but really it's been fairly one-way traffic since the first exchange of fingers.
Yeah, to be fair, you know, Esther's finally shown a little bit of humanity, you know, after having some basically perfect games the last couple of rounds. But it's certainly understandable because you're sitting across from probably the greatest player to have ever played this game.
Yep, you're feeling a lot of pressure to find not only a good move but the best move on every turn, and that's the psychology behind Quashi, I would expect. So easy to tempt yourself into playing it. You know that Quashi is good with an IE, you know that many of those words are good with both IE and Y, and you see it's a far better option than anything else you've got on the board, and you play it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if it were valid, it would be really hard to argue against that for sure. So Kenji is saying that Nigel could make a setup next turn, and it's curious as to whether he'll take it or not. Could you elaborate, please, Kenji? Z, right. Oh yeah, 10B. Yeah, that makes sense. What's he going to draw out of the pool, though? Something like mildew, maybe? But I guess if you do that, you want to try and bonus. I'm just trying to think of what he could set up. Three U's and a V in the bag still. Someone has to draw those eventually.
Yeah, Wiz is the more orthodox play there. And tempting though as he definitely was, I think the MW synergy just made it a bit short on, yeah, not long enough on options down the A column maybe.
He would have had WEM at the very least, if nothing else, but I don't think it's really worth.
Yeah, I mean, on this board, he's going to score with those tiles in other places too. Although it is tightening up a little bit. Don't know, might be pretty close.
Jackson's pointed out there were 3 ends to draw for Wizened after Wiz, which is nice. I would be curious to see if he makes a play just using some of the letters of EIMU to try and continue to go for Wizened. He's probably seen it as an option, so wait to see what he does. Esther, in the meantime, her rack's a little more balanced again. Just going to be looking to score and keep this as respectable as possible.
Yeah, it's another tricky spot for Esther. I mean, do you half-heartedly keep playing for the bingo? Or do you just try and find a 5 down the B column and grab 40 points if you can find one? Actually, still haven't found one that goes.
Not for 40, but I see top, TAUPE, for a decent score at B10. Zeva suggested Powa in the same spot, just one short of the double word score. It's also a decent scoring option. Orate plays at 15J. And it looks like she has opted for Orate, saving the P.
Yeah, you gotta question that one with the state of the unseen tiles. But I mean,
She probably doesn't care.
Her only strategy at this point is to minimize spread, and she almost doesn't even have very much control about that. So yeah, she just wants the game to end. She's played 6 tiles, so fair play.
And Nigel really doesn't have to worry about much here, so he'll probably just play through with MEU perhaps at M1 to declutter, get rid of those extra E's, maybe even pull a late bonus to end the game.
Yeah, MEU's a nice play. Don't think he'll be worried about what Esther's given her this whole turnover.
Yeah, into that ugly pool, certainly. Well, I guess it's not so bad now, but we can see Esther's rack is not ideal. Yeah, there goes Emmy.
Yeah, good play.
Hooray, found something once in a while.
Really, Esther almost needs to play defensively now.
Strange as it is, yeah. Or if she wants to continue the trend of just playing and emptying the bag, there's Aboon from B9 along the side to score and just get the game over with. But it looks like, oh, Nigel's got
Nothing.
Okay. Yeah.
Just.
Looks like a nice set, but yeah, does not go down.
And 3 tiles in the bag, is that correct?
Town scene, so yes, that's 3.
Certainly a fair few possible bingos Nigel could have from Esther's point of view here, so ugly, but a basic heuristic play that would make sense would be to play across the tiles of War 8 to block the 8s down to those letters. Whether that's a 2-tile or a 3-tile play, I'm not quite sure. Harb empties the bag, leaving her vulnerable to an outplay bingo if one exists, which one probably does.
Just looking at the leftover letters.
No, nothing hooks YU, right?
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah, okay.
I don't see anything,
Right,
so...
right. That simplifies it from her point of view. So she probably can play pop.
And it would have to be pretty extravagant to bonus from the Y. I'm not really seeing anything in the pool off the top of my head that works. Yodeled with 2 L's? Is that possible?
There aren't 2 L's, right?
There's an L on... Oh wait, yeah. To her it's just 1 unseen, never mind. So no, that's not possible. Yeah, so nothing from the Y, nothing hooking the YU. Yeah, so just a basic play covering ATE. It's probably a spread minimizing play. So it looks like Nigel will be the lone undefeated player after this round. Pretty sure he won his last one.
Yep, these were the only 2 undefeated players after 5 rounds. Pichai from Thailand, 3rd place, followed by David Webb, Esther Richards, and Jesse Hay, all of whom had 4 wins and a spread of over 200. Dave Wiegand's had a rough day so far. Lost his first round by 2 points and then had a tie.
Wow.
Yeah. Then had a narrow loss to Hubert Wee first up after lunch, so far well behind the lead, but hugely long tournament, so I'm sure we'll be seeing David
plenty more, yeah.
On the top table. Well, I hope so anyway. Big fan of Dave Wiegand. I like his play.
So Esther's played BA, BE, and AI at B10.
Not sure about that.
So she's decided to not empty the bag.
I can only think that she's still trying to get a bingo of her own.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what she wanted to pull. PUNIO. I'm thinking about the pool. Her point of view. What is she hoping to pull? Well, not Eunoia, because she had an I. I'm trying to think of what she wanted to pull. She had to be thinking of something she wants.
You would think so. No Puntia. Maybe. Doesn't go down the A column.
Not based on what she set up for herself, yeah. Actually, it does. N column, it would go Rio and Yup.
Uh-huh.
So that might have been the one she was going for. Nigel has made, I guess, a 4-tile play based on, we're seeing 3 left in his rack. Sorry guys, we'll get that play out for you there pronto.
Wouldn't have taken him very long to identify that there was absolutely no bingo threat from Esther. So I assume the normal strategy with one in the bag would be guaranteed out at 2 from Nigel.
Lido
keeps.
He's got a V as his last letter. And Esther has one more I.
And indeed, Nigel does have guaranteed outplay with that rack, and I'm sure he must have calculated that he has guaranteed outplays with every rack.
Hence the quick play there, yeah.
With 8 enabled is a nice way to finish.
Yeah. That's likely going to be what he'll do.
Am I right in thinking that Esther also has an I to go as well?
She does, yes.
Yeah.
For some reason it's not showing up in her rack, but she has onion. That's her last rack, which is not a word, of course.
Her rack plus A, O, and T.
A, O, and T.
For a nice 10-letter bingo.
Probably a non-word.
Indeed. Non plus the 7 we were just discussing.
Well, based on that, non-utopian.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
Good work. As the only other 10 with her rack is non-plussing.
Nice. Nice. They're both findable, certainly. I'll keep that in mind for an anagrams game. It'll probably never come up. But
I'm so bad at anagrams. Honestly, I just can't play it at all.
Imagine if Nigel did. It'd be scary to watch him play. Nigel is not known for his after-hours play at any tournament, though. That's his own thing. So they've made their final plays here. They're into their post-mortem over at the board right now as Nigel fills out his winner slip. He is now the only person unscathed with the loss in the Causeway Challenge so far. So he'll go up to 6 wins. Esther, she's just lost 198 spread points, so she's still actually going to have a fairly high spread for the tournament. She had that much more than everyone else in this round. She was at 854 on spread. That was nearly 400 higher. Actually, it was 400 higher than the next highest spread in the tournament.
And if I'm reading the pairings right, we're actually about to see a rematch of these two players on table 1.
Oh, wow.
I think we're going to get them again.
Well, I think that's in part because of Esther's spread, with that going on. So she's not going to be happy. Probably the last thing she wants to do is play Nigel again.
Yeah, I agree with Kenji's comment, by the way.
It is amazing.
Lido in 20 seconds, and it is indeed optimal. So I think we'll wrap this one up, shall we?
Yeah, we're going to go off the air here briefly, but we are expecting a rematch of Esther and Nigel, and yeah, we're going to hopefully see some more high hitting here between the two players. Maybe Esther will have a little bit of time to regroup and calm those nerves a bit, because we've seen pretty much flawless play from her otherwise before this round, so we're going to expect her to bounce back.
And she was under the cosh from the first couple of moves in this game. So I guess Nigel, inaccuracy can very much be excused.
And Jason, thank you. An exciting rematch of Chris May versus Jesse Matthews. We haven't played any Scrabble games here yet. Maybe we will between rounds, but rematching on the microphone certainly. We're going to go off the air here quickly. Back, I'm going to guess for 4 p.m. local time, which is just under 15 minutes from now. So until then, Jesse Matthews, Chris May signing off. We'll see you back here soon in Johor Bahru.